welcome back to another episode of the Black Tower podcast. I am one of your hosts, your Ishamael Andrew, and I am joined by two really incredible hosts, and as well as my normal two hosts.
Accurate.
They're incredible, but I can't say that every week. You know, we can't inflate our own egos too much.
It begins to lose its meaning after a while. So yeah.
Got to make you work for it, make you earn it.
And you guys know me. I am Josh, your Sorovan Mahale.
And you guys know me. I am lit badly because the sun is going down. Your Amantan Mahale, Daniel.
I'm lit.
The sun's getting real low, big guy.
There we go.
Sun's getting real low, big guy.
But anyway, we're back for another.
Real low.
Hey-o.
I don't want to know what your son's doing.
That was exactly
I didn't know you had
the
one.
reaction I was hoping for from our two guests. 100%. Wide eyes, full hearts. Wait, that's not the quote.
I don't know what's happening here. But you know what I do know? I do know that if you want anything else Black Tower Podcast, you go to blacktowerpod.com. It's your one-stop shop for everything we have to offer you. For the most part, it may take us a couple days to update stuff. I actually don't know. Did we get the Gathering Madness stuff up on the website yet? As I put Josh on the spot.
Totally. Unless you're listening to this live, then no.
It's there. We have stuff planned.
Live, it's there.
We're getting it done, but for those of you that haven't heard yet, this coming October, as we do every October, we celebrate when the Black Tower podcast was founded on October 18th of 2018 was when our first episode went live. So this October 2022, we will be back in Los Angeles, California, as will Daniel after his hiatus from the state, enjoying himself doing the Crater and Shaitan's work across the country.
Across the nation.
I have no idea where you've actually been and where you haven't been, but I'm going to say across the country because it sounds cool.
It was the Black Tower on tour.
There you go. So that will be the 15th and the 16th in Los Angeles, California. If you can make it out there, we would love to have you. And I know a lot of you are saying, well, I don't know if I can make it because I need more details. Well, we're going to give you more details.
There will be guests.
Like next episode.
There will be other people joining us. Some people you know, some people you don't know.
It's going to be the Saturday and Sunday from about noon on both days until about midnight on both days. So it's about 12 hours of goodies, 12 hours of us, 12 hours of you, hopefully, and lots of fun to be had by all.
Why did you say us twice? 12 hours, these 12 hours of us. That's redundant.
We'll be doing all of your classic favorites. We'll be doing the Taste the Taint challenge again, of course, and be challenging others to it as well. We'll be doing What Tales as it only took us.
Throw up there. Hold on, before you keep going, I want to commend a person who is actually on this episode right now, and that would be Adalorna, for her ridiculous joining us of Taste the Taint last year. She was sitting there being like,
iron tongue.
This ain't hot. This hot sauce.
So they used to call me back in college.
I'm dying. What are you talking about?
Not hot.
So, props. Either you have a really good poker face, or you just can take so much more heat than I can.
Or you just burnt all your taste buds off.
Little of column A, little of column B.
Probably.
Or she has a very strong tongue.
I mean, we all knew that.
Her tongue looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger's thigh. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
I feel like I'm missing some stories.
All right.
But we'll be
Cocktail
doing that again
podcast.
this year, along with Watt Tales. If you want to submit drink recipes, please do so. I don't know where we posted
Sorry
the
about
link to that.
I was
Couple
going to say,
places.
It's going to be on our website. What we're going to have is we're going to have the Gathering Madness announcement, and then we're going to have a link to our doc. So Andrew, send me the link. We're going to have a link to our Watt Cocktails submission form. We're going to have a link to our form. So if you want to be there in person, of course, want to attend virtually, all you have to do is to our YouTube and turn on the notifications. You're not going to want to miss. We're going to have a lot of fun.
And if you're
Okay.
not subscribed to us on YouTube, what you're going to want to do is go to YouTube, go to Black Tower Podcast, smash that subscribe button, and then ding that bell. I think that's what the Gen Zers are calling it these days, right?
Something like that.
How would I
Andrew,
know?
When I do this,
The only smashing
the
I know
bell,
in
like,
my
right
life is
there.
smashing that like button. Ha 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 ha.
hey-o.
Gotta ring.
Depressing.
It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be awesome.
Anyway.
you gotta come. You gotta be there. It's gonna be the best.
Yeah. We hope to see you there. And if we don't see you there in person, we can't wait to see you there online and see what everybody thinks about it. It always turns out to be a hoot. A real humdinger of an experience, if you will, to use. I just sound old for like the past 5 minutes. What the hell is happening here?
Yeah.
Well, to
None
save
of us-
myself
The
from
youngest
sounding
in our
old,
show.
to save myself from continuing to speak and sound old, we're going to go ahead and introduce our guest for this evening. Before we tell you what we're talking about tonight, the lovely, fantastic, incredible, infamous ladies from the North Harbor podcast. If you haven't found them, you definitely need to find them. And they're going to tell you how to find them. How are y'all doing? Thanks for joining us.
So, some of you guys
Hi.
have trouble finding North Harbor, and that's okay.
No, it's not.
They're here to
I
help.
definitely didn't just make that exact same joke.
Women have
Unmute
had
yourself.
North Harbor.
Oh,
Sorry.
Rebecca, you're muted.
In the Discord.
Discord.
Yep.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, noes.
Oh no.
Okay, is that better?
Yay! There we go.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the conversation, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Welcome, North Harbor Podcast.
The
Yay!
entire time.
Wait. Is that why most people can't find North Harbor? Is because half of it's on mute?
Half of it has lost its own way. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's so sad. How many women can't even find North Harbor?
No!
No.
I mean, half of it's on mute.
Yeah.
Fake
yeah.
laugh.
Fair.
In real pain.
Those are the best jokes where we laugh at Josh's pain.
Good one.
Love
Good
it.
one. I'm gonna drink my pain away now.
While
Well,
you
to
do
answer
that,
your question.
let's have our
That
guests
sounded so
introduce
genuine.
themselves and tell us where we can find you.
Yes, please.
You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, the dreaded Book of Faces.
And most
Pretty much-
importantly, the north side of Tar Valon.
Yes, exactly.
Is it-
We have a map on our Twitter in case you need directions.
So if you hit the wall on this side, you've gone too far.
Mhm.
If you hit the wall on this side, you've gone too far.
Mm-hmm.
And if you hit the forest up here,
Right.
you've also gone too far. Go
Correct.
back to the tower and head back up until you find North Harbor.
There's a
Exactly.
nice
Usually you want to go ahead
little
and make sure that
lighthouse.
you find it.
The hand motions are slaying me
man.
right now.
I can't.
Once you found it, you definitely want to circle it a few times
Uh-huh.
and then just pace back
in
and
this
forth a little
area.
bit.
You know?
Just turn it into a Ouija board and start doing letters.
North Harbor.
A is
Don't-
for Alfred.
You're gonna
B
find
is
it.
for
B is for bats.
Oh.
Yes. Love it.
Well, thank you both for joining us.
The
It's
North
been a
Harbor.
while
Yeah.
since we've had you on. It's been far too long. It's always been far too long for
Mhm,
guests as amazing as you both are. How have you been? I know We said it very early on, but again, happy birthday, Rebecca. Hopefully it's a at least half decent one, but hopefully it's a good one.
Been pretty good.
Yes. Yep.
I was pretty
Yeah.
when Adalorna told me what day I would be here. I was very, very excited, and I thought best birthday present ever.
Yes.
Aw.
Yeah.
Aw.
Mhm.
It'd be funny if she was like, "Oh wait, no, not because of the recording. What you guys are doing? I actually got something really cool in the mail."
Yes. Mhm.
Oh. Well,
I mean, it is always nice when people from the tower, from the White Tower, come to the Black Tower and don't get force bonded. So, like, that's
Mhm.
probably a good.
Do we need to change that?
I mean, I'm not usually into that.
I'm not saying no.
The legitimate silence that just ensued
Right?
was actually kind of incredible.
It was amazing.
I had to
Perfect.
think about it.
Why would you think about it?
Right? This is
You
not
Well,
a
you know what
thinking
they say.
Just say
decision.
Don't
no
think,
out of hand.
drink.
That's not fair.
Don't think, just do.
Yeah.
Feel. It is like a finger pointing to the moon. Don't
Oh, where I thought that
focus
finger was
on the
going.
finger,
Look.
or you will miss out
Is
on
your
all
finger
that
coming to my
heavenly
heart?
glory.
Which moon are you even talking about?
That
though?
is tonight's movie quote.
Is it the blue moon of Kentucky? Does it keep on
The
shining?
moon at night is big and bright. Deep in the heart of Texas,
Yep. Okay, we're about to have a
which
musical
is where I
episode.
am
Got
right
it.
now.
All right.
Okay. All right.
So it's,
Oh,
it's
so you've
the
been on the road
tower,
for 12 fucking
Down.
hours and you're still in the middle of the
White
state. Got
Tower.
it.
Mm-hmm.
In
It's
Texas?
the two towers have come together to
Mm.
discuss the greatest
It's
series.
always best when we come
Come
together.
together. Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of something that might give you the same a similar sensation to coming together,
Mm.
before we get into what this topic is going to be, we're going to get your spoiler warning going. This one is courtesy of the Registered Nerd. I've heard it before, but we love hearing it every time. Here you go, your spoiler warning for this
This one's
episode.
very appropriate for this.
This
theme.
is your Black Tower podcast, Wheel of Time spoiler warning. There are neither beginnings nor endings to spoilers, but this is a beginning. If you continue to listen, you may be cursed with the knowledge yet to come. These curses may include knowledge that you are, in fact, just a farm boy. Drinking one glass of wine now leads to mustache pulling and a hell of a hangover. Resigning that you will never be as good with the ladies as your friends are. Realizing Androl is bae, regardless of your gender or sexual orientation. The inability to stop tugging your braid in anger, even if you don't have hair. An understanding that the word taint is simultaneously a noun, adjective, and verb. Discovering you have more titles than actual name. The BDE, also known as Big Dragon Energy, becomes undeniable. Finding yourself promising to read A New Spring and never getting to it. An uncontrollable urge to argue over inconsistent pronunciations. Knowing that hating Gon is a responsibility, not a privilege. Again, there are no beginnings or endings to spoilers, but this is a beginning. You have been warned.
Yes.
And there you
It's a good one.
Pretty good one.
The record. Fantastic.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for giving that to us. We really appreciate it.
All right, Josh. The man with the plan, the man with the hat. What are we talking about?
Well, first thing, I'm going to throw this out here because I just want to give one additional plug for the Gathering Madness. I've promised celebrity guests, and we have it confirmed in our Discord. Norm is going to be there. I'm sorry, you can't ask for a bigger celebrity than Norm. The Norm is going to be there. So get your ass to LA, October 15th and 16th. That's all.
do it.
Tonight, we're going to be discussing a very, very subject. This is actually a part deux of an episode we did before. It was the episode 41.
By the way,
41,
that's
Metaphysics.
That's 2 for those of you who don't speak surrender.
That's right. That's right. Well, I speak freedom over here in America. No,
Can you tell I'm in Texas?
it's part of an episode we did, Metaphysics with Ishamael, and we just Ishamael's sort of philosophical outlooks and his fall to the shadow, and why would someone even actually align themselves with the shadow, and his sort of journey and descent into madness.
Pause for just a second. Hey Rebecca, I think we're getting some echo from your speakers.
I knew it.
Oh shit.
Hold on.
Ishi did nothing wrong.
I might have to switch computers.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
That's my option. Okay.
It is entirely up to you.
I will probably do that. That way we get this thing here. All right.
Okay.
Be right
Yeah, we'll
back.
pause the recording.
All right.
Okay. You got to record. Okay, now
All right.
we're back in business, back attack.
Back from technical difficulties. If you're wondering why that was a weird cut to like, they're not talking about what they were talking about. It's because we don't remember what we were talking about, or at least I don't. But.
I don't.
I remember what we were talking about. We were introducing this episode. We had discussed motivations and philosophies and metaphysics of Ishamael and his descent to the shadow and his continued motivations. And is he not? We don't really know. We covered, we glossed over because it's such a chewy subject. We nibbled at it from the perspective of the Age of Legends into the sealing of the Forsaken and Ishmael's influence upon the world whilst they were bound. Now, the question that I would like to pose to our illustrious guest, based on what we discussed last time, is there any pieces or components that you were like, hey, why didn't they talk about this? Or where do you want to pick up from when we get to Eye of the World and the Eye of the World is there, the seals are shattered, and the Forsaken are actually free now? Like what, where, how, and when?
You didn't mean the S on the seals, by the way, just so you guys know.
I'll let you pick this one up, Rebecca. You've seen the episode more recently than I have.
I love how she said that more recently than I totally watched it.
Hey, I watched it live. Anyway, continue.
Anyway.
Sorry, guys, I did not watch it live. I was enjoying the discussion about how Ishamael kept on trying to move everybody to the Dark One. He couldn't. And the reason he wanted to do that is because he wanted the nothingness, whereas the rest of the Forsaken just kind of prattled around doing nothing. I think that was part of what was touched on.
Mere mortals and your material goals.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah. And I enjoy...
I'm 5 steps ahead of you and everyone else.
Yeah.
I love Ishii. Like, he is so complex.
It's a bit fishy.
A little bit. But yeah, I like it. Like, he's just tired of the battle. Like, he lives and he feels each time. And I've brought this up on Twitter before. Like, to me, he is the man who cannot forget. Not Luz Theron.
Ooh. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
'Cause-
he's the
Luz-
opposite of Matt Smith.
Nice.
Kind of, yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
I mean,
I
yeah.
actually really perspective because you now have we had Tom singing "The Man Who Forget,"
Mhm.
and we all immediately, oh, he's talking about Luz Theron. He's talking about his family dying and whatnot, and
Mhm.
he's to remember as punishment. But Rand doesn't know.
It's
Mhm.
about both of them.
Yeah,
It's about the dragon and it's about Ishi.
because they're
Mhm.
two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Well, it's
They're the
balance.
same person.
Mhm.
It's balance.
But that's the thing though. But Ishi can't forget. Like he has the memories
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
of those previous lives, where Rand, even at the end, doesn't actually have access to it, but he kind of does have access to the previous one life due to the nature of his madness. But even then, it's his madness that gives him access to that grants him access to that. It's not Ishamael who's like, we have fought so many times and I am so tired.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you
Because
think he
it-
had that in the Age of Legends? Do you think
Well,
that was
he
part of his
couldn't.
motivation there?
He couldn't
I-
talk that way to Luz Theron.
Yeah, not then.
Because he needs the dragon to seriously fight him
Right.
to bring about like a true end. So if he's like, bruh, just end it somehow, like I'm just tired of this going on, then he's not going to be taken as a serious threat and he'll never get what he wants.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Like up until like the last unavoidable moment, Ishmael knows, and then of course Moradin knows, that he has to have the Dark One absolutely convinced that he is fighting to win for the Dark One. Not that he just is fighting to get close to winning and then just be completely removed from existence. I mean, he's fine with the Dark One winning, so it's not really counter to his goals. But it's not
Right.
really, he doesn't really care if the Dark One wins or not. He just wants to not exist.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just
Because
wants to be
I
done.
think it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's got a serious case of the Mondays.
Yeah.
That's a permanent case of the Monday. Poor
What's his
Ishi.
relationship with lasagna like?
Look.
Make the lasagna, John.
It's in the Age of Legends, okay? It's called lasagna. How are you messing this up? New cheese, sauce. Oh, you don't call them tomatoes anymore, but that's what they are. We're
Yep.
red poppers. Great. Sauce out of the red poppers. Put it on a noodle with some cheese. I don't think Italy was represented in Randland. Maybe we need more.
Was it not?
Dare you?
Wait, what?
Italy was absolutely represented in Randland.
Who?
For what?
Are you kidding me?
No.
All of the Sharans who came in, you didn't hear them being like, "Wait a second, we're gonna sort
Yes.
you out."
Hey, where is it going to take over now? Okay?
My cousin, he's a
Hey.
plumber, and he will jump on your head.
I'm gonna need all,
Accurate.
all the channels.
Accurate.
I'm
So
gonna
the
need 'em to put it
mafia
over
came
there.
over. Got it.
Hey. And when they find out that,
Forget about it.
when
Well,
they
Sophia
found
from
out
Golden
the
Girls
will
was
is
definitely
a
there.
fake,
So
they're gonna be
Yes.
like, "What are you talking about? Huh? What are you talking about?" Love it.
Okay, now you're getting into Jersey.
Look.
Yeah, well,
That was the interesting
which
thing.
nobody wants to do.
If Mandrid went to Shara and he tried to pretend to be one of them, and he was running around being like, "Hey, what are you guys doing? What do you guys think you're doing over here?" I tell you what, I'm the guy. I'm
That's
going to wild.
Jersey.
I tell you what, and then everybody over there was like, "Oh, you are the wild."
You know, when your Jersey accent and your Italian accent blend together.
All bets are off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. It's like the sauce. It's
Mhm.
like the sauce that blends together and makes a new sauce that is better.
Okay, so now it is a Hispanic accent. What are you doing?
Excuse me, that was not Hispanic. Thank you very much.
Uh, the longer you talk, the more Hispanic it sounds.
So
Anyway,
This
We
is what
have-
happens when we don't have an
Yeah.
accent coach on the show.
right.
this is the accent coach.
Amazon, stop sending me. Send me an accent coach. That's what I
Yeah.
need.
We don't
So
need
that I can
yachts.
do a better job on the show that you're
We don't need any more yachts.
Any more
Need
yachts? Yes.
more yachts. No
We've
more
already got
yachts.
enough.
I have plenty.
I have a yacht in my yacht. I don't need any more.
Some yacht
That's
stuff.
not
My
bad,
lifeboat,
Dang.
my lifeboat, just a smaller yacht.
Exactly.
Because sometimes you have an emergency, but it doesn't mean the vacation's over.
Yes.
So we've got Ishamael, who's got. You know what? That would actually explain why he's that much more insane than the rest of the Forsaken when
Because he has
they're
more
set
yachts?
free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he had more yachts.
Mhm.
Well,
More
no,
yachts.
because he has a longer memory than the rest of them do.
Mhm.
I'm going to go ahead and say that he did not have access to speak with the Dark One because the Dark One was also bound.
Right.
Granted, it was an imperfect seal, and it was waning, it was breaking,
Mhm.
and then of course, when the first seal broke, it unleashed the Dark One's influence on the world, and
That's typically
released-
how it happens, right?
when the
it
seal breaks, the
crumble-
influence
yeah.
starts.
Yeah,
Yep.
it starts seeping,
Yeah,
gets into the rest of the world.
Seeping.
that
Seeping.
gets right in your eye.
Yep.
Or you know,
Seepage is one of the worst words. It's up there with moist.
moist. Can you have moist seepage?
Right?
Oh, God.
I think most seepage is moist.
I mean, I'm fairly
Welcome
positive it is. Yeah.
It might be the worst
Black
description of
Tower
swamp ass ever.
ASMR. Moist seepage.
Love it.
So
Oh no, I think we broke Rebecca already. Oh my god.
Just
There's one.
projectile vomit on our
someone get a
webcam.
dinger
No.
counter up here.
We need a dinger counter on North Harbor because
We do.
yeah.
There's only 3 dingers here that I know of.
Yeah, no, that you know of.
That we know of.
Uh-huh.
Don't want to assume anything.
You know what happens when you assume.
You
Ishamael
usually are right.
puts moist seepage in your eyes.
Yep.
You get anti-spoiler jizz in your eye.
Or
ears.
that's right.
No ears.
Anyway, so like, I guess I have a question. Like, I've never really considered Ishmael insane.
Me neither.
So it always kind of
Really?
like, yeah. So can you expound on that? Like, what in your reading? Obviously, I don't know. I mean, that's the caveat for everybody that's listening to. Like, oh, Andrew's being a dick to Josh again. In your reading, what are your indicators, or what is your thought process that makes you think, or that shows you rather, that Ishamael is insane?
Well,
Trying to find the right
first
verbiage where
off-
I'm not like just immediately discrediting what you're saying.
No, sure. First off, let me ask: Am I alone in this? Discord, YouTube, let me know. Am I alone in this? Because I always read it as when you've got the Eye of the World, you've got Dragon Reborn and the Great Hunt, or the Great Hunt and Dragon Reborn, respectively. And all the way up until the Battle of Falma, where is finally actually killed and resurrected as Mordred. Like, I feel like at that point in time, he kind of gets like a reset. He kind of like a reprieve, a breather. He's been alive for several thousand years, cut off from any supernatural communication. I mean, we don't know what his channeling capabilities are during this time. He's metaphysically bound to the. He can walk the earth as an entity every once in a while. We don't know what his capabilities. I equate that. Now, Lanfear talks about it being a dreamless sleep. We've discussed that in the part 1. But I would equate this being in solitary confinement, as it were, kind of, where he's sitting there, he's able to walk or even kind of influence people to people a minuscule amount of times. And much alone, immediately followed by everybody instantly being there and being in place and doing all the things. Like, just always sort of, maybe insane is the wrong word. Maybe it's like what's the Treasure
Unhinged?
Island, when they unhinged when they get to the island, and there's the guy who was marooned on the island, Ben Gunn, who was marooned on the island. Dude was out of his mind wacko because he had spent so long on the island alone. But as he time and started to pick up on social cues and started to pick up on how people behave in social situations, he kind of mellowed out. So maybe insane is the wrong word, but as a person who spent 3,500 years in solitary confinement, I have to imagine that does something to mind. And I don't care how strong your mind is. It has. So when he's up there going, I am Shaitan, I would kill. I sincerely, as I read it, I sincerely think he's only halfway serious in making that. But the fact that he's halfway serious, thinking, wow, I'm Shaitan, I'm Baalzamon, I'm the one who will bring the darkness. And then, of course, he dies at fun. He gets a proper death for the first time in 3,000 plus years. And then he gets to go, oh, okay, new body, new me, sweet. And he kind of like that, combined with the fact that he's starting to interact with people again, kind of gives him a bit of a reset. And that's sort of my take on it.
Well, here's my question. Some say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. If he's the one that remembers everything and he knows he's doing the same thing as he did last time, but now expecting a different result, isn't that insane?
I mean, I think that's an allegory rather than like the true definition.
It is an allegory,
Right,
and
but
I'm being witty.
Why can't he just change something? Right?
So
do something different.
He's in power. Except, wait, or does he just now want to lose his link to the Dark One?
He just wants to cease to exist.
Yes.
Yeah.
He wants to be removed from the cycle of rebirth that the wheel itself does. Because I'd have to find it again, and if Warshawty was here, he'd probably know it in like 5 seconds. Maybe Jamie knows it, maybe somebody else, maybe Norm knows it. I remember seeing somewhere where Robert Jordan was asked about, are there a finite number of souls? Are souls actually created in the world of the Wheel of Time or not? Or is it a finite number that gets recycled? But one of the biggest things for me that makes me question some of the ideas about Ishamael is he has the least reason of the Forsaken to be insane, because he gets a reprieve. Every 960 years, he gets a 40-year reprieve from that sleepless prison. Nobody else does. So he gets to come back out into the world. He gets to see what's going on. So if he, by the way he acts, is insane, then with the exception of Lanfear being the crazy, creepy, obsessed girlfriend meme personified in the Wheel of Time, do we not see any of the other Forsaken acting in a similarly insane way as Ishamael portrays himself? The other part that I would challenge is we know by the sheer virtue of the fact that it only being male channelers with 100 companions doing the sealing, that the seal is beyond flaw. And we know it doesn't 100% remove everybody and the Dark One's influence from the passage of time, because Agenor and Balthamel still age. Like, they come out the oldest and the crustiest and the dustiest, and they're literally like, Shemesta technically could have just farted and they would have fallen apart. Like, I don't know why it was actually that hard. It shouldn't have been that hard.
Right.
But so time still passes, which means that what's supposed to be an end timeline, an in the world, in space time prison on an necessarily outside of space time area, is actually an anchor to space time that maintains it's a band-aid fix on the board. So he's not removed. So there's, I think, reason enough to believe that the Dark One's shield on the taint from Sidene on the male Forsaken is still present, and potentially to some small trickle a link to the true powers there, and who else to grant that to, than your servant that's released every 40 years. Because who's to say that over the last 3,000 years, every 40 years, Ishamael wasn't doing all of this stuff, being these like so-called heroes of prophecy to go to the eye of the world to slowly dissolve and break the first Quindiar seal. And then once that was broken, the Dark One himself could start eroding the others.
Well, and we
there's
do
about
have
5 theories in one thing.
Well, and we do have confirmation that the Quindiar has been weakened by use of the true source, not the one power, the true source.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the Quindiar seals eventually fail. So I mean, you bring up a good point that if Moradin, but that again, that's assuming A, that Moradin can find the eye of the world, and B, he has access to the Traverse while he's bound.
Well, doesn't he show up in Eye of the World? In the book Eye of the World, at the Eye of the World? Because don't he and Rand fight then and there? And because Ishmael's the one that shows him the horrendous visions of Kariel Thor with the Murdral, doing what Murdral do that Robert Jordan didn't write explicitly, but you find through context clues just how absolutely terrifying that actually is.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And but that's the thing. Like,
trigger warning for anybody that goes to Google that, by the way.
That's true. Yeah, that's a.
I mean, but Jamie brings up a good point here in the live chat, or he comes with the line. That Ishmael's closeness to the pattern means that he could see and feel time pass, unlike the deep, dreamless sleep of the others. Hence the insanity, which is a very valid, very good point. But how come it doesn't appear that Agenor and Balthamel are insane? They're just old. They don't. I mean, it's a very, very limited time we get to see them, to be fair. So they could actually be insane, but they're just like, we're going to fight. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I would think that, like, them seemingly and apparently more affected by the passage of time would have been more aware of the passage of time than Ishamael would be. So perhaps they would be more insane. Because the thing is, like, yeah, Ishamael wasn't completely sealed, but he also wasn't subjected to the passage of time. He didn't age.
So
he did, actually.
Just much slower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he came out in dream shards, right?
Right.
To show himself. And in doing so, he was always able to cover himself up. And we can't forget that he has the Mask of Mirrors.
that he can utilize.
Boom.
So he may not appear to them as aged as Balthamol and Agenor were,
Right.
but he was. And I think that Rand talks about how deteriorated he is when he finds that body in the Stone of Tear. Or at Falma.
In Falma.
Whatever. Falma. Yes. Apologize.
Well,
Yeah.
and even in their dreams. Now, do you think the withered face with the fire eyes, do you think that's
The
Mask
fire-
of Mirrors intimidation, or do you think that's corrosion and that's a body that's being held together by the true source?
A little bit of both. I think the fires in the eyes are actually the Sa. Like advanced Sa in his eyes.
Ooh.
She
I
is my
like it.
co-host for a reason.
Yeah,
Ooh, I
so he's
like that.
been channeling the true power for so long,
Yeah.
which is part of what causes the madness. Because as you did mention in your last podcast, the true power is basically the taint.
That was our theme. Yes.
Yeah, and it matches. So if you think about it, he is channeling the true power. He is the only one of the Forsaken who's around during this time. So he can get more of the essence from the Dark One. And so in having that ability to just continue to channel that, the Sa become larger and larger until they are
And
cleansed.
more abundant as well.
Yes.
Right.
Mhm. You're welcome.
I really like that.
Yep.
I don't know
like
that I agree, but I also don't have a counterpoint right now. I know that right now I don't agree that the true source or the true power, whichever one, fucking hell.
True power.
Yeah,
True
I
power.
don't agree that that is just the taint.
Oh no, it might be more, but the essence of it is there.
Right.
Or
The
that it
madness.
is what created the taint or anything like that. I think
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
Right.
entirely different.
Okay.
I think it's the
Well, it
inverse of Shaitan's protection and like the kind of channeling version of a VPN he provides to the Forsaken.
Right.
I like that description.
Yeah. He doesn't like
I'm an
like,
IT nerd.
it's
I'm sorry.
not a taint. Like it's not a taint. But it is, but without person of that influence, that's what allowed the Dark One to have access to Saidin, which allowed him to taint Saidin. So there is obviously a link between those two. Either that or crazy ass weave that the Dark One knew to create some crazy ass tainty slick or slick taint. I don't know. One
Slick
of the two.
taint. Nice.
What taints aren't
Yeah.
slick?
Yeah.
I was looking-
If your taint is slick, it needs to be washed. Anyway, continue.
And I think Rebecca, like you were answering one of the questions we had in the Discord about people only got the true source have to be a maiden A bliss. We see several times where people or the Forsaken namely have talked about giving access to it. Mogedian's remarked that there may have only ever been 29 aside from Morden whoever had access. Demandred remarks about how he's never used it except in times of great distress and great need.
Right.
And now it seems like the Nameless becomes, or the restriction to Nameless is once someone is named Nameless, then only they outside of the Dark One are given access to the true power.
Right.
Then until then, it's whoever quote unquote needs it or can make best use of it, and who Shaitan believes deserves it the most. Because Rand, whenever he's, I know you can argue it's the link with Morden, obviously, that he gets him access to it. But when he's subject to the domination ban, he's able to channel it as well. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what
I
saves
don't.
his ass.
I find it hard to believe that the Dark One's so easily tricked by like a balefire bond between two people that cross their souls. I mean, now that could be actually the perfect trick. Maybe. Who knows?
Well,
That's
you also have the Dark One who in the beginning, well, at least Dark Friends in the beginning of the story who interpret the Dark One's message as bring the boys alive. Then it shifts to, okay, you can kill Matt and Perrin, we need alive. They even find numerous places in the books where grains are taken to preserve Rand so he can make it to Tarman Gaiden. That's how the Balefire link happens. I want to say that's fully an accident. I think the Dark One knew what would happen if you cross streams with Balefire. I think he knew that.
Yeah.
100%.
To watch Ghostbusters.
But I don't think he ever.
I do live outside of
anticipated
space time and have access to all space time.
actually
Watch
happened.
Ghostbusters. Come on,
I mean,
like the best version of like Netflix,
Exactly.
Hulu, and HBO Max.
exactly.
That tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I don't think he knew it was going to happen, or I don't think the Dark One knew it was going to happen. And when it did happen, the Dark One was like, "Oh shit, this is going to be a problem."
Yep.
Mhm.
And probably thought that compensated for. I don't know. But it turned out to be a good thing, as we all know, for Rand.
Right.
But that brings up an interesting sort of thing, because again, they're bound in school. They age. They don't necessarily feel the passage of time,
Mhm.
except for Ishi. He feels the passage of time.
I believe it's brought up that Lanfear is the only one that is completely untouched by the passage of time.
Was she the close?
Because she's so close to the center. So the further away they are from the board, which tracks in the
Right.
last battle, the further you are away from the board, the more time affects things.
Right.
True, because
That
if the boar itself is into the area where space time doesn't exist, and therein
Exactly.
can exist,
Right.
then the
So-
further away, the closer you are to actual space time. So
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure somewhere Isaac Newton is in his grave, being like, "That's what I was talking about." But I don't know. What do you think, Adalorna?
Thank you, Robert Jordan, for your physics background.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think that the closer that you are to the everything that you guys have said, I agree with so far.
You're awfully agreeable today.
I know, right?
Hmm.
I even love on this particular topic where you got the battle has happened, and everybody's huzzah, we win.
I love
Mhm.
citrus.
Is
Sorry.
Rand coming out of the boar yet? No. Well, what do you mean no? As far as we can tell, he's just standing there. What do you mean he's just standing there? He and Ishamael, he and Morden are just standing there. And anybody outside the cave looking in the cave, time has dilated so heavily that they're almost not moving, because time is moving so slowly right at the event horizon, I guess, when the seals were
Gosh.
broken.
You're a Naruto fan.
Yeah.
What does this remind you of?
Wait, what?
Naruto.
Naruto, it's an anime, if you're not familiar. So there's this whole thing from base Naruto where you have Sasuke, who's always wanted to kill his brother because his brother killed their entire family.
Mhm.
And then in the time skip version, or I think Shippuden literally translates to like hurricane or something like that, where they come back to it, eventually we get to a point where Sasuke gets to go fight his brother. And that's when he learns out that his brother actually wasn't a dynamic douchebag. That actually his brother was pretty good. But there's a part where there's somebody watching them fight. And because of the clan they're from, they're known for being able to put people in illusions and fight with illusion.
Oh, yeah.
And so you got this guy watching them, and from his perspective on the outside, watching these two guys fight, they're just staring at each other doing nothing. So all I can think of is now looking at the Sasuke and Itachi fight at the old Uchiha hideout temple that was never mentioned ever except for this fight because it looks bland and honestly they could have done better with the setting, but it was still pretty cool. Just picture like Maureen and Nynaeve, other than the power draw that obviously Rand is using, because he's using an immense amount of power through them as well.
Right.
So like if Tom
Channel
peeked his head in, he would just be like, he would be just like Zetsu, just sitting there like watching people stare at each other.
That's
Sorry,
what
I had to be an
Perrin
animator.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Perrin
Well,
peeks in.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm good.
Well, Perrin and ends up fighting Slayer, even like setting up a little dream spike in there, having a good old time.
Playing this
and
new
being
reverse
Tom
card.
to it at the mouth of the cave and being like, "Why is everybody down there moving so fast?"
Gotta go
No,
fast.
Okay, so we've discussed that the Dark One, he'll use people to meet his own ends, and where this is largely based on, Ishamael, Elan, Moradin. How does he think the Dark One is going to be, like, to honor that request, to remove him completely? Like, do we ever get that in the books, or is this just something that
he tells Rand, in the last battle, that this was his promise to Ishamael?
Yeah, right, because Forsaken joins the Shadow for a reason, and the reason that they're given is, whatever, and this is the Dark One says, "Sure, if you do this for me, I'll give you this."
I mean,
and
if
most
you
of the
go
other
into
Forsaken are like, I was just gonna say, most of the other Forsaken are like, "I want to live forever," and Asmodean's like, "I want to learn all the music." Shut up, dude.
I love Asmodean. Leave him alone.
I do too, but
he has the best sense of style out of all of them.
He has to.
Naturally.
Well, about a 13 Forsaken get played like Asmodean's harp.
Yep.
Because every last one of them, by siding with the Shadow, says that that they're pledging their lives, their eternal souls, to helping Shaitan realize his goal of destroying the Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
And only Ishmael's like, that's exactly what I want, because if you're going to destroy literally time, space, then all the matter that exists as part of time, space must also be destroyed when you destroy time, space. So Ishmael's like, I'm here to just return to nothing. Everybody else is like, oh, well, I'll rule forever. I'll have power forever. So honestly, I think the only Forsaken that actually has complete undying faith in the cause that they side for is Ishamael. The rest believe that the Dark One will never actually succeed. Because if the Dark One succeeds, they don't get anything they want. But Ishamael does.
Yeah.
So the rest are just like, yeah, we'll help you, bro, but you're never going to win. And Ishamael's like, no, you're bound to win.
Yeah, I think Ishi is the only one who understands the true ramifications if the Dark One wins.
Well, that would
makes him the perfect opponent to lose there, or the Drake.
I was about to say that would make him, and that would also just line up completely with the conversation we were having in part 1 in the Age of Legends, where he, as a philosopher, said straight up, the Dark One only has to win once.
Yeah.
One time. The Dark One just needs to win one time in any one of these confrontations.
Yep.
And that, you know what? I'm on board with that. That actually kind of makes the other Forsaken look even dumber.
Yeah,
and it makes him look scarier.
I mean, honestly, it kind of makes the entire battle like a battle of commitment.
Right.
Because you have all the forces of the light that are fully committed to, no, let's save this bitch because the ship sucks, but we still live here, so we want it to survive.
Right.
And then you got the shadow that are like, well, even if we die, we just get sealed away or we get reborn, whatever, we don't care. Which it turns out, motherfuckers, no, that doesn't always happen. But you got Ishamael who's there like, well, I'm the number one head honcho in this fight, and this is exactly what I want. I want everything to be destroyed. I mean, it comes down to, honestly, even engaging in the last battle, there's a portion of that where the light feeds directly into what the shadow wants. Because Morden is going to be orchestrating everything during these like 40 years that he's free for the last 3,000 years. To point all the prophecies to say that it needs to come down to a one-on-one fight. That it needs to be the dragon fighting the Dark One.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
but there's really no reason for that to happen. What you really needed was just a balanced group of channelers. You needed male and female Aes Sedai coming together and resealing the board.
Yeah.
And instead of basically using a child of prophecy and a fancy shiny crystal sword and a couple people that are there saying, yeah, bro, I got your back.
Yeah,
to basically solo do the work that should have been the work of, like 200 or so male female channelers 3,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You also needed, though, the true power to buffer against the taint.
The taint was gone by the time.
Right, but so that the taint.
Or do you mean the buffer against Shaitan being able to taint again?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
I
got you.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it sounds like it just became the ultimate 1v1 Negro stuff. I mean, you're right. But I still like the idea of it basically being Shaitan being like 1v1 me, bro.
Mm-hmm.
How much of these prophecies were Ishamael prophesizing and trying to manipulate the outcome of Tarmangaiden? Sort of.
Yeah.
I mean, not unlike Dune.
How much were the Black Aja?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly, and if you look at Dune and the Bene and that organization, they spend thousands of years introducing prophecy and all kinds of damn it, no.
OG Dragon Ball.
You can't.
That's perfect.
If you want to see what we're seeing and laugh along with us, go to blacktowerpod.com, Patreon, and for as little as $1 a month. Actually, even less. If
you too can watch an iconic scene from Dragon Ball.
And it's might or might not be Goku slapping Bulma in a place.
Oh no, what happened to your Dragon Balls, Bulma? Jesus Christ. I mean, yeah, he is a little high, but
yeah, he is. That is North Harbor. Thanks.
I mean, he's working on the lower intestine. It'd be fun.
Oh, he's trying.
Look, he's up in the Ogier Grove, okay?
Yeah. He missed the part about steady pressure on the lower stomach, all right? He's just a kid. He doesn't know any better.
Yay.
Anyway.
Bless his heart.
Anyway, I like the idea and we've talked about this at length on the show, that a lot of the erosion and the White Tower is because of Moradin and his, or Ishamael or Balsamon or whatever he's calling himself, and but it's a lot of him.
I'm the balls man.
Laying down policy with the Black Aja, with Dark Friends, different things like that. And as we know, Dark Friends transcend society, right? You have royalty who are Dark Friends. Right. You have peasantry who are Dark Friends. And if a king comes out and says, "Oh, guys, we've got this prophecy here that I just found," everybody's gonna go, cool. Like nobody's gonna question that.
Right.
And where you've got him saying to the White Tower, "Oh, recruiting? No way. If they can channel, they'll go. That's what you're supposed to do. Don't recruit." And it's like there are things that he has done, which God shows some like intense solidarity and force of will.
What if the White Tower's minimum strength requirements are actually a mechanism born of Dark Friends, of the
For
Black
sure.
Aja,
Yeah.
to keep the White Tower weaker?
And
Yes.
there
Makes
would be a
sense.
number of things that would be that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The non-marriage rule, the no having children rule.
Yeah.
hmm
Do they have the non-marriage
It's-
rule?
Well,
It's frowned
Or like
upon.
the tradition?
Highly
Okay.
frowned
Yes.
upon. It's like
Yeah.
Jedi having
Highly.
I mean, not in the Green
spouses
Aja.
and children. You're not supposed
I mean-
to.
So,
But you
I guess the
can,
Green
you're
Aja
not
is the only
supposed to.
Aja in the last 3,000 years that was able to bust an old tradition completely.
Yeah.
I mean,
They have their own traditions.
we do.
Yeah. But I mean, like,
you green.
no, I mean, it makes sense that because like there's no way that at the second of the erroneous stealing of the board,
hmm
that all the Dark Friends just disappeared. It's absolutely impossible and illogical.
Very true.
Right.
So they would have continued to work in the world along with Black Aja Sisters, and what easier time to infiltrate all the remaining sane channelers than when the world is in desperate need of anybody that can come in and aid. So, yeah.
And setting such
Mm.
rigorous standards.
Right. It also makes you think maybe they had something to do with people being rigid in one Aja instead of fluidly going between them. Because that's how it started, was they picked and chose and
hmm
went wherever they wanted and wherever
Like-
they felt.
Agile teams.
I really like that, where you have original sort of. We have an organization of people who can channel, of women who can channel. These are the only safe channelers in the world. We're going to have these specialties. You can kind of go, can get a certificate in each group, as it were.
Mhm.
As time goes on, you know, maybe it's just a natural sort of state where people go, I really want to be over here. Okay, cool. You don't have to go anywhere else. You can just, and people became more set in their ways that just kind of naturally, or did
Could have been
Ishamael come in and talk to someone and say, we should do this? The problem is that he would have to have insane amounts of forethought and strategic planning. And
He's
I
the one
They
that
did.
remembers
know that-
everything, isn't he?
I mean,
He had an incredible opportunity in FYA 973 to force the Aes Sedai to behave in certain ways. Because that's
Yeah.
whenever Ishamael was Jalwyn Morad. And he was the advisor to Audra Hawkwing that seeded
that's true.
and pushed and heavily advocated for his hatred of the Aes Sedai.
Mhm.
Right.
So how do you take and really restrict the
Very own
movements?
Grima worm tongue.
Yeah. How do you take and really restrict the movements of a group that you want to keep weak? Well, you get literally the guy that owns fucking everything in his military
Mhm.
to say, hey, you see that vagina-shaped island in particular? Fuck it.
And not in the nice way.
And not in the nice way.
Yep.
You
No
seem like the
caress.
kind of person to fuck
No.
to fuck Dragon
Play.
Mountain. I don't have the goddamn common courtesy to give it a reach around.
There
Nope.
it is, right
And
there.
completely
There it
ignore
is,
North
right there.
Harbor. It's fine.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he did.
Mhm. Mhm.
He was more of a South Harbor kind of guy.
I mean, obviously. Yeah.
I thought he tried to go from the front and behind.
You know,
He just kind of surrounded it and stared at it and tried to starve it out.
Yeah,
True.
Yeah.
Got it.
He tried to edge for too long,
Mhm.
Oh.
and then the mood just left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like,
you pissed.
he was that guy who was like, "Oh yeah, you like that? You like that?" 4 hours later, "Oh yeah, you like that? You like?" No,
Yes.
I really
No,
don't
I'm
like it
done
anymore.
now.
I
He did
I
piss
need
off
to be
Otter's
done.
wife. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tamika was pretty pissed. She was like, I don't trust this guy anymore.
Yeah, makes sense. Should listen to his wife.
Yeah. Very true.
Oh,
I-
man.
I think it's awesome though. Well, okay. For instance, the example you just brought up, Andrew, that Ishamael, advisor to Arthur Hawkwing, the most powerful being on Earth at this time. How much of Arthur Hawkwing's success can be attributed to Ishamael's advice and influence?
And then should he be a hero of the horn?
Hey,
If he
I
is
didn't do anything wrong. I was just following advice.
so easily.
I mean,
Hello.
obviously,
um,
I think he
The Hague would
should.
like to have a conversation with you.
I think he should, and maybe this is another episode entirely.
Mhm.
But I think he
Where,
should
you know,
because
Lear
Feldman
has
Ishmael
a-
comes in the peaceful years.
Yeah,
It's 964 to 975 FY, where Arthur Hawkwing's peaceful years already. So this is already after he's conquered, I believe, the Wessons.
Yes, and
believe.
now he wants to go after Tarvalon, the Waste, and the lands beyond
right.
the world's sea.
So, yeah, not discounting him. And we even get reports like from Matt where he's like in one memory, I'm Arthur Hawkwing's general, and in another enemy, Arthur Hawkwing is standing over me where he's just killed me. Like, there's a lot of fuckery going on in Matt's head in that particular sense.
Or man.
Where the other episode idea I was thinking of is, does the Horn of Valir have some sort of like Mjolnir-esque measurement of worthiness to bring in a hero of the Horn?
It has to some extent, doesn't it? Because a dark friend can't blow it.
Well, a dark friend can blow it.
I mean, but they're not.
They just don't
You
get
know.
fits.
It just detonates in their face.
but even Matt, when he's like, am I one of you guys? And they're like,
Nah,
no.
you
No.
wish.
you
wish.
could be, but there is still the element of choice.
Right.
Like
Free will.
when you die, the horn comes to you, or the creator comes to you. Someone
Yeah.
gives you the choice. Do you wish to be bound? You have performed admirably.
Mhm.
Do you wish to be a hero of the which?
I know,
this is
that
gonna
needs to be an
another
episode.
You know what?
Making a
That's
note.
in
This
an
is a whole
episode of
ep-
Charmed.
If you want to be a white lighter or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Mhm.
they're like, hey, you have fulfilled your purpose. You can forfeit being the charmed ones now and go on and lead regular lives.
Look, Alyssa Milano, we know you're literally dating Satan right now.
Just come on
You
the
know,
show
the power
already.
of three
Come
will
on.
set us free.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, poor Phoebe. Was it Phoebe?
It was Phoebe.
Was Phoebe the emo-ish one?
Phoebe was the youngest one.
Yeah.
The one that died,
well,
right?
no.
No.
Spoilers for
Phoebe-
Charmed,
well,
a show that's
yeah.
been out forever.
Paige
I've never
is
seen it.
technically the youngest.
Yes.
But
thank
Phoebe is the youngest in the beginning
you. Right. Until
She's the one
spoilers
named
happen. to
Things-
Prue.
Piper, right?
until things happen.
Until
And-
Or was
things
it Piper
happen,
that
yeah.
died?
No,
what?
Prue.
No, that's
Prue.
Prue.
Mhm.
Okay, there we
Shannon
go.
Doherty.
That's the one.
They
That was the
got
one
a
I liked the most.
PPP thing going
Yep.
on.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
It was the power of three. Duh.
Yeah.
Phoebe.
P3.
Gosh.
That's the
PP
name of Piper's Club.
Club, yeah.
P3.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I thought I was being
And
clever.
do you know
Nope.
what? There was an episode of Charmed with orgy on it.
Yeah, there was.
There was.
Orgy episodes are the best.
Oh my god, they are.
Getting back to the Wheel of Time.
I was actually
Speaking
going
of
to say
orgies. Speaking of
this
orgies.
tangent are brought to you by the Tower, specifically North Harbor.
Hey, at least we're not coming on or finishing on Dolly Parton's tits this time.
Nope.
Yeah,
Not
This
today.
this
You're
time.
not.
This time.
I mean,
You're
true.
not.
True.
I'm not. No.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, next time you guys are in Utah,
Mm-hmm.
make sure you coordinate it with a Once Upon a Diva drag show,
Oh.
because the person who has like the main producer of the show
Mhm.
is one of the best Dolly Parton impersonators, and you ain't seen nothing until you've
Okay.
seen a drag queen impersonating Dolly Parton really, really well.
Wow.
I don't know. I've seen two really big balloons right next to each other before. That's pretty good. It's kind of fuck. Not really, but kind of.
Viva la Diva, that's what it. I'm gonna get a picture right now of Jason, who's the main producer.
Momoa?
No,
I wish.
Jason Cosmo. Jason Cosmo. If you want,
Better.
if you want to Google him, he's actually won contests for being one of the greatest Dolly Parton impersonators ever.
Okay.
So here we go. Here comes chat. Boom. But
No.
yeah,
Looking at the live chat, I don't remember Cleopatra ever being reported to have a computer
Oh,
chair.
wow.
I don't know what's going on here.
oh wait, that might
He
not
is
be.
very
Hold on.
good.
Let's try this again.
Yeah, that's not Dolly Parton.
No, that is not. I did my
But
own
it's a good one
search.
still. Shush. Here we go. That's Dolly.
Okay, yes, that is
Okay.
a good one. Yep.
Hold on. There's a picture out here of them together.
Oh, Jason and Dolly together? Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Image.
This tangent brought to you by Josh's AD and North Harbor podcast.
Yeah. And Rebecca Sadai's ADHD.
Rebecca and Josh.
Yeah.
Team ADHD.
Boom. The one power together.
Oh my gosh.
We're perfect harmony right now. That's why.
Nobody
Alright.
throw a squirrel into the screen right now. Yeah.
Squirrel.
We're lost.
Okay, you know what? It's
she-
actually probably about that time.
Oh, okay.
I don't
but
know
it's
how on task we're, but
Been
you know
so
what?
much fun.
It was a fun time, and really, that's why
When we
you're
say
here
about
anyway.
time, it means we
Fun.
got like 10, 15 more minutes of final thoughts.
Yeah.
kinda coming
Yeah.
this
So
way.
Yeah.
basically,
Depends.
where I'm going to go with this is I'm going to say Adalorna. Actually, no, Rebecca Sadai. I apologize.
What?
Rebecca Sadai, as the resident birthday girl today, you get to go first.
Oh boy.
Give us
No, as
your
opposed to
final
the
thoughts.
non-resident.
Yes.
I know.
Which would be our
As opposed to the squatter
It's
birthday
his
girl. You're the
birthday
resident
today,
birthday
too.
girl.
Yes.
Well, I feel privileged to be a resident.
Uh,
Well,
I think-
you're an honorary resident of the Black
Thank
Tower,
you.
of course.
Thank you.
okay.
I was when I used to play what was that one? Game of Stones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was always
Okay.
part of the Black Tower.
Absolutely
Very nice.
Mm.
wonderful.
Yeah, it was way more
Perfect.
fun.
Okay, so what do you think about Ishamael and his whole shtick here, specifically with his sort of philosophical findings and metaphysics of his influence over the world?
So I once read a book cloak thought, which
Oh.
is the only time I have ever done so. And they were mad because on the show, they were made to like Alana. And they're like, what's next?
Ishamael is going to have good reasons for going to the shadow. And I'm like, actually, yeah, he does.
Did you even read the books?
Right?
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
What a chump.
every single character in the Wheel of Time is incredibly complex and so human. And that's what makes it such relatable stories. None of them is perfect. They all have their faults. And
Except for
that's
Min.
how.
Min is perfect.
Well, yeah.
Except for Androl.
And Androl. Min and Androl.
Androl is they. Mhm.
Yes. Yes, Androl is.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Yes, Androl.
I'm just saying that we I'm lost. No. I'm saying that they all have many facets, and Ishamael, well, he is not looking at what I think the right direction. I can understand where he's coming from and understand his need for a break from the turning of the wheel.
I like that. I really like that.
Mhm.
Add Lorna. Die.
All right. Well, being as smart as he is and having witnessed as much as he has, sometimes those of us that are far smarter than the rest of us appear insane because they have reasonings for things that are far beyond our understanding.
Maybe I'm just that dumb. I see what you're saying. That's
Yeah.
cool. Love you too.
You know what? Take that as you will. But no, I don't necessarily believe he was insane. I believe he appeared that way because he had reasonings and had ideas and ways to get there that nobody else could understand.
See that?
Wonder how
Andrew?
there we go.
Oh, I mean, I don't know how to do more final thoughts than I did last time, as I actively pretend like I know exactly what my final thoughts were last time. Part one. Ishmael is just a really good case study when we try to get into the more specifics or the more situational aspects of the metaphysics of the Wheel of Time. He's a good impetus and a good launching point for a lot of them, because the very nature of Ishmael begs the question: was he insane or was he playing a character with a longer term goal? Because Ishamael,
Yeah.
Ishamael
Gucci
was
Mane.
insanely
Ishamael.
intelligent. Yeah, Ishamael, coming to a SoundCloud near you. But no, he was incredibly intelligent. I mean, this is the guy that the first time we see him in the entire series, he literally looks at the dragon and cures madness to a specific degree that he desires.
Right.
So this is a guy that's incredibly dangerous, incredibly skilled, incredibly knowledgeable, and is set up to never forget anything he ever learns, at least not willingly. So he's a really good and continuous point, even for pre the books, during the books, and well, I would say after the books, but presumably there is no issue after the books. So
Until the next time.
No, I like it.
Worked.
Yeah, until the soul is recycled out of the finite number of souls. So,
Yep.
I don't know. What do you think, Josh?
There's an interesting I just thought of, and I'm upset with myself for just not thinking because I could have talked about it a little bit more. But it goes along with Rebecca with what you had said about he's the man to forget, and how stories are filled with real characters. And the scene that popped into my head is the infamous flicker scene.
Yeah.
And all these people, by the time they get through all these different lifetimes, and flicker, I win again, lose Theron. Flicker, I win again, lose Theron. Oh God, I don't think Ishamael was at all privy to those flickers, but I think similarly, by virtue of the fact that he remembers all of his past lives, he
Mhm.
does in that sort of sense. My tablet is talking to me.
So there's an interesting concept there too, that the guy that or the individual that can't forget is also known as the father of lies.
Mhm.
And where I was going to go with this is that you have so many people who react so differently to that instance. You know, Matt comes to Rand and goes, "You know, I'd never marry you, right? I never would. I never would. I would never do that ever." And Rand's like, "Okay, yeah, I get it. Whatever, dude." And one of the more subtle things is Ingtar.
I wasn't worried until you mentioned it.
You know, and so you have some people who can go through these kinds of experiences and it will steal their resolve, and others who go through these kinds of experiences and they say, "I can't.
Yep.
I don't want to. I can't."
Something has to change.
And it goes all out of that old saying, you know, the same water that potato hardens the egg, and it's about what happens to you. It's about what you're made of.
Right.
I'm not going to say that Moradin is not terrifying, intelligent. I do have to say, though, there is a measure of insanity in being unable to accept firm, established reality. The wheel is going to turn. The pattern of ages is going to continue on. If you can't be okay with that, seek therapy, for lack of a better way to say it. So that's kind of my final thoughts on that.
Or seek the one guy that can change that.
Right?
That's
what he
It's either therapy or straight evil. That's your only choice.
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah. I just think of like all those people who got the small flickers and then how they reacted. And then you have Ishi who has been getting flickers for turnings and turnings. And how well he has held up actually compared to some of the people who went through the flicker.
Yes.
Yep.
Everybody handles the flicker differently.
Yeah.
Everybody gets flicked.
Only some people know where to flick.
Thank you all for being here. North Harbor Podcast, ladies, as always.
Where no bean is left unflicked.
Stupendous treat to have you here. Tell the people where they can find you.
Again, we are YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, the Book of Faces, TikTok, pretty much everywhere.
Twitter,
love it.
Mostly.
Yeah,
Discord
Twitter mostly.
And Discord.
Oh yeah, we do have a Discord.
Yeah. And you can also find us on the OnlyFins Discord.
Yep.
Which is the best of us all.
Yep. I have my own little section of channels called Adalorn Hub.
Oh boy.
Check out Erotica. It is my favorite.
There it is.
Since I have looked at it.
All right. Well, thank you guys for being here. Everybody listening and everybody watching, thank you for being here. Remember to go to blacktowerpod.com for updates on Gathering Madness, for all of our social medias, for our store, all of the above. Remember, go check it out.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you. And all of us here at the Black Tower, I have been your Soroban Mahale Josh.
And I have been your Bajan Mahale Andrew. For those of you that may have been wondering where the hell Daniel went, because I don't think we ever mentioned it. His laptop told him he had
on emergency business.
The emergency business is his laptop said you have 3 hours of battery, and it suddenly became like an hour.
Yikes.
So yeah,
I hate it when that happens.
That happened to me when you were talking to Critter. That was hilarious.
Ooh.
Oh yeah,
that's embarrassing.
But in his honor, as he always says, we hope you're having a fantastic morning, evening, whichever one it is. And in case we don't see you again,
Good afternoon, good evening,
There you go.
and good night.
Yeah.
That's he does it better, okay? It's because that's what he does.
I completely blanked
But
on
you
it.
know
so.
what we mean.
Have a
You
good
know what we
fucking
mean.
time of day, all right?
Just
Do
whatever
that.
it is.
Whatever.
Time it is, have a good one.
Yep.
You've been having so much trouble just fitting